Today, we're going to take a closer look at my favorite semiconductor company, Nvidia, ticker NVDA. So, there are a few topics I want to take a closer look at today. First, we're seeing how this company continues to invest in AI in very unique ways. That's definitely going to be one of my favorite topics today. Next, we're going to take a closer look at AI in the Chinese market and the increase of competition due to the regulations we're seeing from the United States to Nvidia, and some other interesting topics that I think investors will definitely like to hear. So let's take a closer look in today's episode. So the first thing I wanted to take a closer look at is how Nvidia is kind of investing in the AI market right now. And luckily, they kind of shared with us on December 11th a new blog report where they talk exactly about this. And Nvidia mentions that there's they have a three-way strategy to support the overall AI ecosystem. And while supporting the AI ecosystem, they're also investing. The first is through Nvidia's corporate investments that usually happens in forms of partnerships or investments. The other is through their N Ventures, which is their venture capital arm where they invest in companies that are leading in the AI space. And finally, they have Nvidia Inception, which is their vehicle for supporting startups and connecting them to venture capital. So sometimes it happens a little bit where AI company might start off as an NV Inception, where it's more like a startup, and as Nvidia becomes more aware of them and more aware of them, they kind of get pushed into the NV Venture, where they kind of have a venture capital arm and invest directly into the company. So they do mention that they've already resulted in a nice amount of collection of companies that they are investing. For example, Cohere, CoreWeave, Hugging Face, Inflection, Inceptive, and many more we're going to take a closer look at. But right off the bat, we can see that Nvidia is really focusing on expanding in this ecosystem. And I do believe, hey, look, one of these AI companies that they're investing, who knows, could be the next OpenAI to some extent, right? OpenAI jumped to a over $80 billion valuation in about a year, in a few years or so. So Nvidia making these small investments and Nvidia being a powerhouse in the AI, I do believe they have a high percentage chance or high probability that they can create some really big AI companies that obviously bode well for semiconductor investors of Nvidia.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for their subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
Now, the second thing I want to take a closer look at on Nvidia is there are reports that TD Cowen analyst has reported Nvidia as their top chip stock pick for 2024 with a price target of roughly $700. They mentioned that, hey, look, no need to overthink it. Nvidia is the best and is continue to be the best, and they're definitely going to perform some really strong numbers in 2024. So interesting to take. I mean, Nvidia is up 226%. Just random question here on the comments, guys. Let me know, what do you think Nvidia's price target can be by the end of 2024? Do you believe it can reach those $700? If so, that would be amazing for my portfolio, but definitely would like to hear from you guys. Now, we are going to take a closer look at the AI market, but first, I want to say thank you for the support. If you haven't, make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. If you want to learn more about the semiconductor market, I do have weekly exclusive videos. Click join to learn more, and special offer at fool.com/Jose. So next, I want to take a closer look at this report from TrendForce, and they really talk about the Chinese market and how it's enhancing and becoming a little bit more AI self-sufficient, especially due to the amount of regulations we're seeing in China. So here they kind of talk about how different companies, one is Huawei, are making significant strides in the independent research and development of AI chips. For example, Huawei has released the Ascent 910B. I tried to look at it on their website, but I couldn't find it. But we can see Huawei is creating solutions for the AI market via AI accelerators, AI modules, AI servers, and AI clusters. In this report, it does mention that Baidu has ordered over 1,000 of these AI chips from Huawei to build approximately 200 AI servers. They do mention that this chip is using, I believe, the 5 nanometer technology from SMIC. This does have very high very low yields from what I'm understanding. So one of the issues is the capacity of being able to make these chips because of regulations. Companies like TSMC cannot manufacture chips for Huawei or some other Chinese companies. But it does seem like we are seeing an increased growth in self-sufficient to some extent. They do mention that, hey, Ascend 910B, the kind of chip from Huawei, slightly lags behind the A800 series, and its software system is different from CUDA. So obviously that can be kind of a headwind for Huawei, as many key people want to stay on CUDA for their overall software solutions. They also kind of talk in this trend force about different kind of AI solutions by big cloud service providers like Baidu, like Alibaba, and how some of them are going to continue to invest in AI solutions while others are focusing more on just kind of purchasing out there. So it does seem like this is a very interesting time for the semiconductor market. So some quick top level overview on some of the articles right now. It does seem like obviously the restrictions that are the U.S. export restrictions are creating some form of hold for the AI market in China. This is roughly a $7 billion industry, the AI chip market in China, and Nvidia holds roughly 90% of the Chinese market there. Unfortunately, with the overall increased regulations, you are seeing emerging Chinese competitors come out of there. Like I mentioned, one of them was Huawei. On the bright side, I also mentioned how there is compatibility and switching ease, as there might not be too many companies that are running CUDA, right? For example, CUDA platforms is meant for Nvidia. The other thing is a lot of these companies are startups, so they really don't have the capacity to produce the chips for those cloud server providers in China. And finally, the production capacity is also as concerned, as many players can't build, like TSMC can't manufacture chips for a lot of these alternatives. The only real alternative right now is MIC, and though you have yielding issues, and probably have Huawei as a big player right there. So definitely a lot. It sounds a lot easier than it really is. So as an investor, I really wouldn't be too worried, especially since we know that Nvidia is working with regulators to make sure that they're able to follow the rules for selling their chips to China and still be able to have a nice presence there. Now, the final thing I want to take a closer look at is there was a Q&A session in a recent NVIDIA conference at UBS Global, and it does mention that the CFO hints that Intel could be a future foundry service for NVIDIA. And this is nothing new. NVIDIA has always been open that if Intel does well, they don't mind having a third manufacturer or foundry service partner. They already have TSMC, they already work with Samsung. If they could and they need and they want to, they can also work with Intel. But it does seem like it's not a one market takes all. We can see the Hopper line is made through TSMC, the Ampere line is made through Samsung, I believe. So very similar can happen in the future where maybe certain products are made from certain different types of foundries. So Nvidia just kind of being more political there, and kind of showcasing that, hey, if they're we're not, just because we're in competition with them in certain industries doesn't mean we won't work with them in the foundry side. So this is all that I have for Nvidia right now. I do believe it's a lot of great information, so I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.